Well, helping us to further unpack this is Dr. Shaheda Omar, who's the clinical director at the Teddy Bear Foundation. Dr. Omar, it's always great to have you on the show with us. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. So listening to the judgment on this matter was actually quite an eye-opening and very sobering emotional experience, right, as the judge went into great lengths and details of the events leading up to Joshlin's disappearance. 34 days of testimony and cross-examination. What do you make of today's verdict?
Well, I think firstly, we need to commend Justice Erasmus, the prosecution team and law enforcement and everybody that contributed to the victory. However, it is a bittersweet victory because the whereabouts of Joshlin Smith is still unknown. Unfortunately, the reality is that one cannot be optimistic of her being still alive. And the fact that they have been convicted for kidnapping and trafficking takes away the fact of the issue of murder. However, we know that Justice Erasmus and his team exercised a lot of rigor, a lot of wisdom, a lot of effort was put into understanding the processes, looking at the facts, because there were issues around reliability, credibility of the state witness. But taking that all into account, I think at the end of the day, justice has been served. Yes, we will never know the whereabouts of Joshlin Smith. And I think the important thing from this landmark victory judgment is that we need to pursue this with all the other Joshlin Smiths. The kind of response that was elicited by community, a whole of society effort is something that needs to be extrapolated across the country for all victims that have been in a similar situation.
Doctor, look, does this verdict in any way bring about any closure, though, in your view, Doctor, as the child is still not found, as you've alluded to? And according to the testimonies, I mean, we might not possibly ever know what happened here or even see her again. And once again, the fact that all suspects have been found guilty, but nobody's willing to talk, including the child's mother. So then really the main objectives were not necessarily achieved in full. And as we await sentencing, do you think then that their conviction in the matter will also serve as a lesson that child protection is actually a communal responsibility?
Well, I think this is indeed one of the greatest lessons learned, that child protection is not your business, it's not my business, it's our business. It's a community business that we all need to ensure the safeguarding, protection and well-being of children. But coming to the issue of questions, there are so many questions unanswered. There is no closure. Unfortunately, it's unfinished business, and that requires a lot of work to uncover what actually happened. The mere fact that the accused did not come and take the stand speaks volumes. Unfortunately, they were within their rights to do so, but it leaves many questions unanswered. And of course, we will never know until Joshlin Smith's whereabouts are found, if they are ever found. Because in our belief is that she has been murdered. She's actually no longer in existence. And it's a travesty. It's a sad state of affairs. It's really tragic. And we do believe that in future, this will be an awakening to the rest of the country and all the different government departments and communities to rally together to fight the scourge of violence against children.
And glaring for me, Doctor, was the fact that it was actually social workers and educators that initially had to raise the alarm of the child not being present at school. Once again, echoing that message that the social responsibility is for us all to ensure child safety. So we have to be those nosy neighbors, unfortunately, who ask questions and show vested interest in what's happening right next door to us, especially on child-related matters as well as GBV.
Yeah. And I think the judge captured that so beautifully in his judgment, where he spoke about the spirit of Ubuntu, that your child is my child. And until we don't do that, we're not going to ensure the safety of each and every child. So you are absolutely correct. We all need to work together collectively to protect our children.
All right, Doctor, thank you so much, as always, for your input on this matter. That is Dr. Shaheda Omar there. She is, of course, the clinical director at the Teddy Bear Foundation, with reaction to the guilty verdict of all three accused in the trafficking as well as kidnapping case of Joshlin Smith.